It's casual, not formal. It's hosted by Rory Pendlin, and Renee in tow. It's time to start the show. 1, 2, 3, go!
Hello, welcome to another edition of It's Casual. We have a very special show. Not only are we going to have Manuel Zamora on the show as our co-host tonight, but we are going to have Belinda Balaski, the actress, artist. She's known for movies like Piranha, The Howling, Gremlins 1 and 2, Small Soldier. She's been in a lot of stuff. And again, so excited that I got her on the show. Renee, can I get you up here? And Manny.
Absolutely.
Hello.
So we do another show called The Big Monster Briefing Room. And we did an episode on The Howling. We did an episode on The Food of the Gods, which she's also in, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And I reached out to her when we did the Food of the Gods episode and said, can you be on the show? And unfortunately, she was busy at the time. She couldn't do it. She had some other engagement to do. So I sent her the links to those two shows just so she could watch them, you know. And she responded back, oh my God, this is really fun, you know. So I asked her, why don't you come on as casual? That'll probably be a better fit for you. We can talk about your acting career. And I found out she's an artist now. She's been doing some beautiful art. Just got an exhibition. So we're going to have her come on up. Let's bring up Belinda Balaski.
Yay.
There she is.
There she is. Yeah.
Hello.
Also want to thank Diane Marie Call for my mug.
Yes, I need to bring that up as well.
That's the diamonds on it. They're the diamond R. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on the show, Belinda. It's so great to see you. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I just said thank you for having me.
I want to go back and talk about all your acting. I'm an actor by, in my heart forever. I've been acting since I was 14. Performing. I'm also an artist though, so we want to get to that as well. We want to talk about that as well. The beginning. Let's go back to the beginning of the 70s. Making it as an actress in the mid 70s. Can you tell us about that?
Well, how did I get in, say, Joe Dante films, you mean?
Well, eventually, yeah, you got into Joe Dante films and
Right.
became one of his stable actors that you called back.
I started out doing television. I did some the FBI and a few. I had done some theater. Actually, is what happened is I got cast in William Minge's Bus Stop, and we were in a 47-seat theater with Tim Scott and Jim Gammon, if you know who they are, wonderful actors. And it was the first year they put the small theaters up against the big theaters, like the Dorothy Chandler and the Mark Taper Forum and all these huge theaters. And we walked out with 5 awards. We walked out with Best Play, Best Set, Best Director, Best Supporting Actress, Best Supporting Actor. And suddenly everyone was in our 47-seat theater. And when you looked out, you could see them because it was so small. I mean, I'd look out and see Robert De Niro sitting there, or Cloris Leachman, or, casting people or pictures. It was pretty phenomenal. And I went on to do 2 other Inge plays and won 3 awards doing those 3 plays. And suddenly started working doing television. And I got cast in a movie called Bobby Joe and the Outlaw. Do you know this movie? With
Marjo Gortner, who you were also in The Food of the Gods with.
Yes. And Linda Carter.
Linda Carter.
And Jesse Vint. Yes. And Mary Lynn Ross. And it was very, very, very fun movie. There were so many actors in this film. And it was my first film. And I was really excited about it. And I had this wonderful part of Essie. And the funny thing that happened was Tina Hirsch was editing the film, and she didn't. Mark Lester was the director, did not have an editing bay, so they asked Roger Corman if they could use New World's editing bay, and Roger, of course, said, "Of course, come over here," you know. And so Tina came over to New World and sat down. She happened to sit down next to this guy. She had no idea who he was. He was working on his first film, and she was editing this film. And she would say, "What do you think of this cut?" And he'd say, "What do you think of this cut?" And well, that turned out to be Joe Dante.
Oh, okay.
And he was cutting Hollywood Boulevard, his first film. And so he started watching me long before I ever met him or knew of him or anything about him. He actually was sitting there through the entire time she was cutting that film. So when it was over, he called me in. Well, I had then done Cannonball with Paul Bartel, which was a friend of his.
Right.
And he was also in that film. And after that, he and Susie Arnold, who was casting Piranha, called me in for Piranha. And as I was entering the room, Joe said, "We worked together, you and I." At which point my heart stopped and I thought, "Oh my God, who is he? And what do we do together?" And I, that long walk to the desk. And as I got closer, I realized he was this greasy mechanic in Cannonball, and he was so funny and he was so good. And from that moment on, I said, "You were that mechanic." And he said, "Oh my God, you remember me." And so we've been mutual fans ever since of each other. And I've now done 12 films with Joe.
Wow.
And have been very fortunate because he always wanted to have like a repertoire group of actors that he could use over and over in all his films.
Yeah.
Sometimes the star, sometimes be the character actor in the back, just move us around. And I love that. I mean, it was really fun.
Dick Miller, Kevin McCarthy, Paul Bartel.
That's right.
Robert Picardo.
Yeah.
And you're in that list.
We are very, very lucky.
Piranha. It basically, Jaws had been a huge overnight success. So they were making other movies that were like Jaws. And Spielberg even said, Piranha is the best of the Jaws remakes or the knockoffs.
Well, it is. Because it's so tongue-in-cheek. I mean, it really is a total comedic take on Jaws. And it's funny, and it's pretty political. And it's written by George Sales, which is what separates it from most of that genre.
Right.
And you get to see Keenan Wynn with his legs all stripped off.
I know, I love Keenan Wynn. Yes, you do. Right. He had a dog. Yeah. No, there was quite a cast of people in that film. And, it was made for nothing. And it was really fun. And here Paul and I were on set together, and we didn't have a scene together. And Paul kept saying, "Joe, Belinda and I are here on set in Austin, Texas, and we don't have a scene together." And I'd say, "Joe, Paul and I are here together and we don't have a scene together." Finally, he said, "Write one." So I wrote that midnight scene where we almost jump in the water, Melody Thomas and I.
Right.
I wrote that scene, and I really like that scene because I think without that scene, I mean, that's that sort of da-da-da-da moment, when you realize something's in the water, but you don't know what. And
that is your best scene in the movie, yeah, as far as acting, because, you're showing that you're foreshadowing, I think there's something not right here.
That's right. So it was really fun. That was really fun because it was a collaborative effort, and Joe is always like that. He allows you to, pitch in, and he likes to see you do improvs, and we sit around and make stuff up, and he'll look at it, and if he likes it, he shoots it.
I was going to ask, what kind of a director is he? Does he like the improv? And you just answered that, or is he like one of those guys? Okay, we got to do 20 takes. We got to get it, just right.
No, he's director. He's so not that, and he's he really does give you a chance to contribute to the film, and that's if I were sort of writing a scene that had nothing to do with the movie, I'm sure it wouldn't have been in there, but it really added to the film, and he really liked this scene. Like when I did Gremlins, the night before I shot Gremlins, around 8 o'clock at night, I called Joe and I said, Joe, and he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm sitting here, it's 8 o'clock. And he's like, yeah, so I'm like, but I don't have a script, Joe, and I work in the morning. He said, what? And I said, a script. And he said, neither do I. I said, what are you talking about? He said, just come in and improv.
What?
I said, oh my,
Oh wow.
yes.
I didn't know any of this. This is incredible. So how did you feel about that? I mean, you're anxious at first, but then I guess you warm up to it and you start taking ownership of the actual creative process, which is so cool for an actor.
Improv with Polly Holiday, who
Right.
have this huge amount of respect for and fear of. And it was like, you come in and ad lib with Carol Burnett, or something like that. That's what it felt like to me. So, of course, that night I wrote out 40 scenes. I brought in this wad of paper to Joe in the morning. I said, I kind of panicked. Could you look these over? And he said, I love the first scene. Take it to Polly and she'll come up with her lines. So that's what I say in the movie is what I brought to Polly. And she turned around and she said, and now you know what to ask Santa for Christmas, don't you? I could have killed her because she was just right there, and so funny.
This is really incredible. I don't think this is absolutely incredible. I am so inspired by this. And then what do you think prepared you for that type of courage and bravery? Because a lot of actors probably would not. I mean, 40 scenes that you wrote after that phone call at 8 p.m. before a casting call. So I'm like, were you just very bold, or you just felt comfortable with him, or where do you think that comes from?
I felt comfortable with him, and I've always been a writer, and I love to write. I develop my character, and I love to, add things that I think are pertinent to the situation. Do you know?
Yeah.
And the wonderful thing about that was after doing Piranha, they called me in to do the Howling, and I was in Hawaii, and Joe said, we're holding auditions. I said, oh, I better fly back. And he said, no, you already have the part. I said, but you said holding auditions. He said, we have to. I said, but I should fly in because what if somebody gets it? He said, you got the part. Don't fly in. What if you blow it? I said, Joe, so I didn't fly in. I did get the part. And when I was doing the part in the morgue with John Sayles, when he came in to do that part, he said, I want you to know I wrote this part for you. I said, what? He said, I wrote the part of Terry Fisher for you out of the character that you created from Betsy in Piranha.
Wow.
He said, I loved it with that
great.
character so much. I developed her into this character. And
Well, that's
the 70s. That's what everyone now everybody's on their cell phones, dialing in their auditions, and
can you do that now?
Yeah, you dial in it, you send your reel.
Man.
You just text somebody your reel. Yeah, she's right. Yeah.
Yikes. Wow.
Like you're doing now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but that shows a great deal of respect, or the respect that Joe Dante had for you, that he would cast you, without an audition, that he already had the part ready for you. And, I think that's awesome.
Thank you. This wasn't always true. Many times he made me come in and audition.
Oh, well.
Didn't know the casting person didn't know me, or they had someone they wanted, or do you know what I mean? So I have fought for parts with Joe.
But
and won.
Yeah, but most actors, I mean, well, there's two different types of, there's a David Mamet type actor who just wants to be told exactly what to say, exactly what to do. And they actually would resent and or collapse or fold in on themselves if they were told, oh, no, you're actually going to drive the storyline and you're actually going to drive the creative vision of this project. So it is, like what Manny's saying, there's something that they're seeing in you, and you also did rise to that occasion. So I applaud you. I'm also an actor, and that's something that I really pride myself on, that I can do that, but I had to learn to do that. I certainly couldn't have done it at that age. So it's a different skill. It's a totally different skill set. And that makes me think differently about all of these movies, because now I can go back and watch them knowing that you had a hand in them. And then again, we're going back into the 70s. And as a woman, I want to ask you about having that creative control, being a woman, being in the industry. Even now, things are not perfect. But in the 70s, I imagine you being a woman. What was that like? Just give me some sort of like an overview of what that was like.
I am I am not your typical woman. I'm very much a tomboy type. I was raised on the racetrack. My father was a jockey. You know, I
Oh,
had a
cool.
great upbringing than most people. We traveled every 3 months with the races. You know, I lived a really exotic, wonderful, fun, but down to earth life. Do you know what I mean? So I knew that women couldn't do certain things. I thought we could do everything, you know. I mean, the way my family was, you know, it was never a thing, well, you're just a girl, you know. It was never like that. I mean, I
Good.
felt fully empowered my whole life. And when I was 5 years old, I woke up early one morning. My parents weren't awake, and I was walking down the hall because I was going to let them know I was awake, just a little kid. And as I was walking down the hall, I heard a voice, and this is the truth. And the voice, I swear to God, was God. And he said that my life was going to be about acting, and I was going to be about communication, and I was going to be an actor. And I looked up and I said, "Okay." and then I and then I just went about doing that, you know, because I thought it was ordained or something.
Yeah. So it became a calling, not just a job.
Yeah, I thought he told everybody stuff, you know.
Well, it was
So
certainly by the grace of God that you met Joe Dante. He's been
Yeah.
taking good care of you.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
people forget that I had quite a television career, and that was before I met him. And
Mhm.
I did a lot of television, a lot of movies a week. I was submitted for Emmys by Charlton Heston and by Peter Strauss, and Dan
Congratulations.
Yeah.
thing,
Awesome.
Are You My Mother, that I did with Michael York. And, you know, so I've been very fortunate to have had a career that had a pretty good span, you know, from one extreme to the other. I've gotten to do Amazon Women on the Moon. I've gotten to do comedy. I've gotten to do a lot of really wonderful things, you know. Feel very
That
fortunate.
was with Archie Hahn. But before we go to talking about Archie Hahn, who's a really funny comedic actor,
He's one.
I don't want to get too far away from it. On the Food of the Gods, you had a
Yeah.
great story that you told me when you said you were going to come on the show about Ida Lapina, and I want you to share that with
Yes.
our viewers.
Well, let's see, which one was it? Was it
She
when
was supposed to make it
yeah,
to the end of the movie.
what? Oh, when
She
she
was
wrote her
supposed to make it to the end of the movie.
she was the only person really character wise that was supposed to survive. You know, it's an H.G. Wells novel
Right.
that Bert turned into a film, and so a lot got lost in the translation. The scientists were no longer making this goo, and
Mhm.
it was up out of the ground at her house, you know, and
Right.
she was supposed to live through all this. But on about day 4, um, you know, we were all tightly packed on this tiny island called Bowen Island, just off of Vancouver,
Mhm.
and it was supposed to be rainy and gray. This was Bert's vision, but it started snowing, and everything turned white. And so
Yes.
suddenly, we're all inside doing interiors, and everybody was going a little bit crazy. And about the fourth day, Ida arrives around 4 o'clock in the morning, which was our set call. And she comes up. I was sitting right there, so I wind of this whole thing. She goes, "Bert," she says, "I've written my own death scene, and you better shoot it because I'm going to be on the 4 o'clock ferry if you don't." And
There you
I,
go.
oh my God, she
Yeah.
Ida, you're one of the only people that lived through the movie. She said, "Not anymore." And if you shoot it,
She
going
wrote
up
her
and
own death.
Wow.
She had
she
to be
was
on that ferry.
gone. She was gone. She was really funny. I mean, you know, at night we'd meet in this commissary, and Ralph Meeker would play this baby Gran, and she'd sit up on top and sing. I mean, you know, I wish I had a camera then. It
Yeah.
was really remarkable to be able to work with somebody like Ida Lupino and to be in the presence of such a hierarchy.
Yeah.
We joked a lot on that show about Ida Lupino and how she used to be this great, well, she still was, you know, glamour girl back in the
Glorious
early
actress of the
days.
golden age.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And now she's doing, Food of
And
the
now she's
Gods,
fighting giant rats.
fighting butter chickens and rats and what have you. But she's still, she was still wonderful. I mean, she still
And you had to
had
give
it.
birth.
Oh,
You
you
had
put
to
my
give birth in front of all the rats.
Yeah.
you take just my sound, from beginning of the film to the end. It sounds like about 15, whats, because I'm either running from rats or I'm having a baby, or it's like really pretty funny soundtrack.
So in Amazon Women on the Moon, you play
Yeah.
husband and wife with Archie Hahn.
I
What stories can you share with us about that? That must have been a lot of fun.
It really was fun. I mean, I had to do stand up next to Slappy White and Henny Youngman and
Yeah.
all these classic comedians that are, well, from the moment they arrived on set, they did not stop. Do you know what I mean? They were topping each other and topping each
Yeah.
other and topping each other. Steve Allen, I can't remember who all was there, but there were 6 of them. And I was supposed to get up and roast my husband and do this comedy thing with them at the table. Oh my God. I was so nervous. And they had 5 cameras rolling. Okay. So I was like, don't make a mistake, Belinda. Okay. I had 3 jokes that I was supposed to say. And I thought, how am I going to get these guys to listen to me? I mean, they're not even aware that I'm in the room. Do you know? And so Bob Picardo brings me on stage, if you've seen the movie, and I'm supposed to, and introduces me to Steve, saying I'm going to do a rebuttal at the roast. And Steve Allen says, "Oh, okay," and he kind of gets out of the way, and I turn around and I'm supposed to say, "Thank you, Steve." Well, I thought about it, and I thought, I'm going to do it, and I said, "Thank you, Merv." At which At which point, I thought Joe's going to yell cut. His name's Steve, but he didn't. And Steve did a double take that turned into a triple take. And all of the comedians sat there now with their mouths hanging open, not knowing what I was going to do. For the first time,
Yeah.
silence on that. So I did my 3 jokes, and the Ha brothers are out there. They're writing madly on these cards, and this kid is running across stage, like, creeping across stage, handing me these cards, and I'm reading these jokes right off the cards because they wanted to keep this going. They said something like the Pitchnick funeral is held over for 3 weeks or something like that, and you can still hear me doing stand-up comedy as it fades out.
So these
Anyways,
cards were written for you by the comedy greats, by Steve Allen, Henny Youngman.
no, by
Wow.
the
Oh, okay. All right.
yeah, that's who wrote Amazon, and they were there, standing there, and so they were just madly writing because it was going so well. Who knows? I mean, I didn't even know how well it was going to go. I remember asking Archie, saying, "Archie, how do I make this funny? Like, how do I say, sign the will?" He said, "Just like that." I said, "Sign the will?" He said, "Just say it just like that." And I said, "Okay." And I said it, and everybody laughed. Oh, I was soaking wet from the top of that little hat all the way down to my feet. I was so nervous, but it went over very well, and I had so much fun doing it. And it's one of my favorite things I've ever done. They don't let me do a lot of comedy.
Now you know how Sally Field felt when she did Punchline.
Right. Yeah.
I love her.
uh, let's talk about the Howling for a second. Your character in that is kind of a Lois Lane. She's an investigative reporter. She's the one that's actually getting to the bottom of things. And in every good horror movie, they create a character that the audience roots for and loves, and then they get axed. And you were that character in that movie.
I don't know what that is with Joe. It's like, Joe, could I live?
So,
Sorry.
I'm guessing you didn't get to see Robert Picardo. I'm not sure. You had to work with Rob Bottin and his team, I'm guessing, with their werewolf effects for that scene.
I saw Bob Picardo. I saw, and I definitely worked with Bottin. I mean, I had worked with Rob on Piranha, when they typed all the Piranha on me. You saw the shot. I sent it to you.
Yes, you have a movie still or a lobby card of you underwater being eaten by piranhas. How
Well,
many
they were
people can say
attached
that?
to me. They were all attached to me with fishing wire, you know. So I think I sent you that still where they're sewing them onto my gaffer tape. Didn't I?
Oh,
And
I
there
don't think I
all
saw
these
that one.
from me. I swear I sent that. Um.
We
Anyway,
have
it was.
I have one that you use that you sign for your for people at conventions and stuff. And I have again I found that lobby card of you, the movie
Oh,
lobby card that has you underwater actually being eaten by piranhas.
yes,
Um,
I remember.
and there was a poster with a whole bunch of like a collage of different movies that you had been in, and there was a picture from Piranha on there as well.
Oh, I.
Um,
Oh, I had emailed you some pictures, and in that was one
I,
of the. Um. But wait, what was I going to say? Now I can't remember. What was the question?
you answered one question was Robert Picardo on set when you were doing that scene
Yes,
when you were
yes.
getting killed by the werewolf?
Oh, by the werewolf. Yes, Robert. Yes, he was definitely there. I had met Rob. I had met Bob Picardo years before that when he did tribute with Jack Lemmon at the
Okay.
Huntington Orchard. So I was like, oh my god, I'm working with this great actor, you know. And then he's like in a werewolf outfit. Okay, and I'm like, oh, this great werewolf.
Eddie Quist.
He's got
You know,
Harry.
it's
Renee, do
so
we have
funny.
that picture of her with the neck?
Yeah, let me run some of the B-roll here. That this one is with the one you're talking
There it
about.
is. Yeah.
Very
So
gruesome.
how long were
Yeah.
you in the makeup chair for that?
Well, you know, for that actually, it wasn't that long because it's a prosthetic that he had previously made, and there
Yeah.
was this pump that they're pumping the blood. You know, he's down below me. I'm on a table, and
Right.
Rob is literally sitting below me, and he's pumping. I can feel the blood trickling down my throat.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
And
so
actually,
you were not on the floor.
wait, there's a really serious part here. I swear, they had placed chicken on me, and under the lights, you could smell it starting to cook.
Oh,
Ew.
Jeez.
yeah.
Is that
It's not
scary?
always glamorous being in
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Just say, oh, the glamour of Hollywood.
All of the glamour. Yeah.
Wow. Um, uh, so yeah, again, sometimes actors will come down and watch, another scene that they're not in on the set of films. So I know he had to film in that same location with Dee Wallace and do the transformation scene, but I wasn't sure if he had been there for your death scene.
Well, anyway, when I shot my close-ups in the office with the gurney being thrown at me and supposedly the werewolf pushing all this stuff at me, there was no werewolf, and I had never seen the werewolf, and I did not know what the werewolf was going to look like, how big it was, what it could do, anything. And Joe
Wow.
said, "We're going to shoot it anyway. Rob has not finished it, but we're going to shoot it." And I'm like, "Shoot what? Where is it?" You know? And Joe had pushed the gurney at me, and so I would, struggle, and these became my close-ups. And 4 months later, when I was now living back in Hawaii, I got the call that Rob had finished the werewolf and to come back and we could shoot our 2 shots. I said, "Oh my God, do you want me to match what we shot before?" "Yes." "Okay. Do you want me to match what I shot 4 months?" "Okay." I said, "I can do this." Right. And I said to Gigi, the hair lady, I said, "My hair is about 3 inches longer." And she said, No, it's the same length. I said, "No, really, it's longer." She said, "I have Polaroids. It's the same length." I said, "Okay." My hair goes like this through that whole shot. If you if you watch
Oh
it on slow,
wow! I'm gonna have to go back and watch that now. It goes up and down, huh?
where
Oh,
you
too
won't know.
funny.
So well edited together. I mean, it's seamless. It really is. That's the mastermind of Joe and
Uh,
Mark Gold. Both of them together, who did the editing on that. I mean, Joe is an editor from the start, and even knowing it, I bet you're going to have a hard time seeing it.
oh, that's funny.
It is funny.
Wow.
There's a
That just took my breath away.
and matching these shots that you had done. It's funny how your body has this sense memory. your body just goes into position or something. You know, I really didn't have any trouble matching
Awesome.
all that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So did you get to meet Slim Pickens
Oh,
while
yeah.
making the movie?
Yes, I wanted to meet John Carradine. That's who I really wanted to meet. I had worked with Cannonball, you know, and I had worked with, and of course, I had worked with David in Cannonball, and I really just had a crush on John Carradine. I wanted to meet him so bad, and that was Night Slim, and all of them were at the barbecue at the beach,
Right.
and that was just a really fun night. I hung out in John's trailer, and he told me story after story after story after story. Just a truly magical evening for me.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. What can you share one of the stories that he's told you?
Yes,
No.
please.
I can't. They were and
Uh-oh.
I so hypnotized by him that no, I can't remember.
Wow.
I have to repeat it the way you have to be there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, it was a while back.
Yes, it
So-
was about 40 years ago, I think.
Yeah. So okay. Well, wow. That's awesome. Just knowing that you got to hang out with him for a while.
It was
That's
really fun.
Cool. Okay. So let's move forward. Gremlins and Gremlins 2.
Gremlins, yes.
You wrote some of your own dialogue for Gremlins, which you said, which was wonderful. Gremlins 2, you're back with Paul Bartel
Yes.
as
And
the concerned mother.
Green Giant, what's his name? The green, what's his name? The Hulk?
Oh, Lou Ferrigno?
Lou Ferrigno.
Yes. He was in that shot too. I don't know what, because I know that thing got really completely adjusted after they shot. Some of it made it to video, some of it didn't make it to video, because Joe's intention was to have the film to make it look like if you went to the movies and you're sitting there and watching the movie, and he wanted it to look like the film had actually broken, and
Right.
so that you would turn around and look back at the projectionist, and he wanted to have gremlins in the window back there, so that people would, it was kind of a God, what's his name that did Matinee, that the whole thing is a take
Like a
on
William
this.
Castle.
Yes, William Castle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to do
Castle,
stuff like that.
he really wanted the audience to experience that, like it was happening to them. Do you know?
Right.
And the character is supposed to, when the film breaks and they start showing some TNA beach movie, I've got my daughter there, and I'm like, oh, this is just terrible. I take her out, meanwhile I'm pouring popcorn all over other people, and it was kind of like a moment of comedy and a moment of I don't know what, and I don't know what made it to the video, but I think it went quickly to video. Gremlins 2.
Mentioning that William Castle connection, that's what Matinee is all about with
Yes.
John Goodman.
Yes.
And did you write some of your dialogue for that movie?
No, I didn't actually. I didn't. That was much tighter. He was now getting into the money studios where the money mattered and what other people had to say mattered, and so everybody was a little bit more contained, shall we say? We were on our best behavior on set.
Again, very powerful scene. You're concerned about the A-bomb. A very, very interesting performance. Very, very powerful. We've talked about Amazon Women on the Mood. Proud Men is where you met Chuck Heston.
Yes, and he would say,
Peter Strauss.
I just couldn't do that. Just call me Chuck. He'd say, I'm sorry, Mr. Heston, I can't do that. We have very political views, so it was not the time to call him. but I had so much fun working on that.
That was kind of brazen of me, I realize.
I know, I'm careful. But he was such a nice person, as was his Fraser, produced it. And I was so lucky to get that part. I wanted that part so badly that when I went into audition for it, there were 11 men in the room, and I was introduced to all of them. I went around, shook everybody's hand, and when I left, I did my audition, which I knew went well. And I walked over to the first man. I said, "Thank you, Stan. Nice to meet you." I walked to each person. I said their name, "Nice to meet you." And I got to the door and I turned around and Chuck said to me, "Oh my God, how did you do that?" I said, "I have no idea." And I walked out the room. I
Again,
knew that.
God
knew that
ordained.
sealed the deal. He was so blown away that I could remember these people. And so
he
was I.
Moses.
Now, he was very nice. He really was. Alan also, I mean, not Alden. Alan, the football player guy, just really a nice person. There's a cast full of really nice people. But we had, Charles had this distaste for Teamsters, shall we say? And so he tried to shoot about a mile outside of the, I think it's a 30-mile thing. He'd shoot 31 miles out so that they didn't have to bring pictures. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So,
It's a non-union shoot. Yeah.
well, it was union, but if you're outside a certain distance, then you don't need to have certain people there. And he
Okay. Yeah.
had a bad taste in his mouth from, Teamsters sitting around playing cards in the back of the set. Do you know what I mean? And
Well, this is why they tried to move some of Hollywood out to Florida back in the 80s. And they were hoping to avoid the Teamsters. And the Teamsters beat them to Florida, and they were like waiting for them.
oh,
They're like, "Hey, here we are. We're waiting for you."
No, we were up in what's it called, Santa Clarita shooting, which was exactly 1.5 miles out of the
Outside of the zone.
outside of the zone. And day one, the Teamsters hit town in about 40 trucks, and they started circling the town, and it's all dirt roads.
Wow.
So it was a dust devil there. I mean, it turned into Dust City, and we could not shoot anything. And there were so many trucks there that it was scary. And that went on for 4 days. And Charlton said, "Everybody go home. Everybody go home. Let's not antagonize the situation. We'll let you know when to come back." But the thing is, they had to carry us for all that time until we worked again. It ended up being 3.5 weeks later. So it was a nice little gig. But it was definitely a little war going on between.
This is why a lot of productions are in Canada now too.
It's true. I mean, that's why Bert shot up there.
Yeah.
Well, also he wanted that rainy look.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
kept snowing. Snow doesn't stick in the ocean. You're right there on an island in the ocean, and the snow is sticking, and it keeps snowing and snowing and snowing. Finally, about the 7th day, I arrive on set, and Bert's standing there with a torch, and he's torching off the snow.
Oh, no.
Seriously.
Yeah, I remember that the football scenes, when they're in a football stadium, they're being snowed on.
Yep.
I remember
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Most.
And it's supposed to be San Francisco, I think.
Yeah.
I think the football players have San Francisco jerseys on there. So, as you said, you did a lot of TV in your career, including Santa Barbara and Falcon Crest. You did some soap opera action.
What?
You did some soap opera action.
Yeah, well, always made me the expert child psychologist. It's very interesting. I in all of those, I was always brought on as the expert child psychologist, and then I would reoccur when needed.
The Second Civil War. What can you tell us about that production? Another Joe Dante production. It's a TV movie.
When you're working in a movie and you you have a fight scene, or you're struggling with somebody in the scene, you don't feel anything. You're numb, right? You're just sort of like so excited, and your adrenaline's going and everything's happening. You just don't care. You just want it to be a good picture. I got home with bruises, and I was covered in bruises all over my body from that.
Oh, no.
I was about to say, unless somebody miss or hit you by accident.
Oh my God. It was so funny. I mean, I didn't even realize that I got so beat up in that bit.
Oh, man.
It was fun because I got to work with Beauty and the Beast. What's his name that I love so much? Ron
Ron
Perlman.
Perlman.
Yeah.
Oh, what a doll. He's just such a dear.
Yeah.
Gentle
Roger
Giant.
was, and Roger was in it also. So he was on set, and I got to sort of, not work for him, but kibitz with him, for a change. Which was fun.
Roger Corman?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He seems like a really nice guy. And
He's
he's
a
just a
nice-
sweetheart of a guy. Every time I see him in interviews, every time I see people talk about him, he did very ultra low budget films with very low, cost, but
Yeah.
he's a nice guy.
He is the key to so many people's careers. I mean,
Yeah.
just everybody that came before me walked through Roger's doors to get
yeah.
rid of
Yeah.
Dick
Ron Howard,
everybody.
that's Ford Coppola. Yeah.
Mm. And he is such a, you just can't help but love Roger. He's just a sweetheart, as is his wife. I love those people. They're just
Would love
very
to get him on the show. I've been trying.
Aw. Have
Yeah.
you?
I've been trying. Yeah. Small Soldiers.
Small Soldiers was really one of one or two actors on it.
Hmm.
Everything else was animated, right? I think there's
Yeah.
only a couple. And I worked literally 11 minutes. They did it in one take, and I made more than that in hundreds.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You were the
Much
neighbor.
money for- he said, okay, I did it one take. He goes, okay, that's a wrap. I said, Joe, don't you want to do it again? He said, why? It was perfect. Go
Perfect.
home. Like,
There you go. Yeah.
I've only been through 11 minutes. Believe it.
Did you get to meet Phil Hartman?
I did not meet him then, but I have
Mhm.
met him.
Okay.
He was with
And-
my man. My manager was Judy Thomas, and he was one of her clients.
Okay. Vampire Hunters Club. You played the vampire mom.
How do you find these things? Okay, that's all I have to say about that.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Rory?
Where did he go? He fell over.
He'll be right back. I'm the new Rory for the next.
It's that mascara. You don't look like him.
Yeah, I don't look exactly like him, but Belinda, we are happy to have you here because Manny is been following your career. That's why he's here as well, because
Yeah.
you probably remember him. And so while Rory's not here, I know Manny had some questions for you as well, and then when Rory pops back up, he'll be able to contribute too.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I got to say one of my, we talked about the Howling, and that's probably my favorite one with you in it, and Gremlins as well. But did you had some scenes with Dee Wallace too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what was she like to work with?
Well,
You know,
we're really good
Got a
friends.
lot of
And I worked very well together because we're complete opposites. Do you know?
no. Yeah.
Very
What do you
white.
mean?
And, well, Dee always shows up in white jeans and a white T-shirt, and she looks like $1 million. Me, I show up in black.
Oh no.
But she just has that way about her. She just does. And so we really complement each other in a really good way. I'm very earthy and grounded, and she's pretty flippy and kind of silly, and very much, we're going to be doing a convention together in October. We'll be in Arizona.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We've done a lot of them together, but they're also going to try to get Joe there, so it might be a Howling reunion.
Oh, nice.
We're
Yeah.
working on it. It's a maybe right now.
Get Picard over there, and there you go.
Oh, Bob is like, just beyond us with his Star Trek and all of that.
Oh yeah. That's where I remember him from from Voyager as the holographic doctor. But
Yeah, he's
yeah,
just a hologram.
yeah,
Bob's just a hologram. Bob is the stiffest
he is just yeah.
I've ever
But
met.
yeah, he was just so chilling in Howling, and of course the transformation scenes where he becomes a werewolf. But
He was very chilling.
he seems like he's a sweetheart too.
God, he was really intense, and but he is literally one of the funniest. Okay, like in Amazon Women on the Moon, before I walk into the funeral parlor to do my roast, there's a scene where Bob and I are sitting out in the annex. And Bob and I are sitting out there and we're just trading shots, right? And Joe comes, he says, okay, we got the 5 cameras set up. Let's go shoot it. And Bob goes, Joe, maybe you should take a look at this. And so we did our little improv for him. And Joe said, oh my God, bring the cameras out here. Let's shoot this, And Bob was saying things like, don't worry, you'll meet somebody. You're young yet. He just, I'm telling you, he just takes me to my knees. He's so funny.
Yeah.
He really is.
Yeah. Every interview I've seen with him, it's just
a million hats and hairs. Every wig you could imagine he's got.
He really is kind of a Peter Sellers in Joe Dante movies. He plays a completely different character in every film.
He does.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to talk about your art. You're an artist now. You do pastels and watercolor.
Yes.
We would like to show some of the pictures of your art. I hope that's okay.
Okay.
So our audience can see your work. It's really nice work.
Thank you. Do you have some you're going to show, or
Renee? Yeah.
Yes, we have. We should be going through some of the B-roll that we have here. So I have them in order. Do you want to just walk through some of these? We've already.
Okay,
seen...
we can just show the pictures, and So that's Piranha.
Piranha. This is
obviously
great.
Piranha.
Yeah. What is the fake blood made of for people who are out of the industry here? How is that?
And food coloring and taro syrup.
All right.
Right.
There you go.
We got it, because
that's the lobby card I was telling you about.
Yeah, I know the shot well. This Olympic-sized pool, and the blood was like, as you could see, in one little area. And the dailies that day, it was the first day I'd ever met Roger. Roger came in to watch the dailies. And after that daily, he stood up and he said, Joe, more blood. He turned around and walked out of the room.
It's it's actually such a beautiful shot. And I just love your expression on your face is so gorgeous. And it's that terror, but, we lost her.
Oh no.
Yeah. What's going on? All the tech gremlins are getting us. It was the Piranha. The Piranha got her.
That was it. It was chewing through the cables.
I hope she comes back. This is a great interview.
Yeah.
I'm sure she will.
When I get to her art.
The Wi-Fi is just wonky right now, as Renee likes to say.
It's wonky. We were waiting. I want to tell people we were waiting for Belinda to come. This is actually a really big deal. We were doing food. Was it the Food of the Gods?
Food of the Gods, yeah.
Food of the Gods, yeah.
And we saw the credits, or I saw the credits. I don't remember, but I started going off about it. And then you contacted her. She's a huge deal. I mean, she's worked with everyone. Listen to all the names that she's been listing here with people that she's connected with. It's incredible. And then to find out she's an artist, a working artist now. So we're going to show that. Amazing,
Yeah, she just got an exhibition and she was very, very excited about it. And she's, which is understandable. Yeah. And again, I'm hoping we'll get to those in a minute, and you can see what beautiful art she does. She really does great art.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and let's know if she comes back in, or when she comes back in. Don't say
she will. Yeah, yeah, man. You were saying something. I talked over you. So sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say that you showed us some of that art earlier when we were off camera or backstage, and it's gorgeous. And I hope she comes back and we can talk about it.
Yeah, it is really, really gorgeous. I know Sandy wanted us to ask her, how she feels about reality shows, because she was talking about how she does improv and all of that. So Sandy wanted us to ask her about that. Sandy, I didn't forget that you said that we're looking for an in on how to get that there. And so and then Bob Ross is talking about how he loves Gremlins, how cool this is. A lot of people all over the world are watching this conversation and reacting to how great that is.
But
I
you know,
want
it's
to
weird.
know.
See,
Yeah.
talks about coming, being television in the 70s and 60s, well, the 70s. Lots of like major actors now came out were just, guest stars on all these shows back in the day, and now they're
Yeah.
huge stars.
Yeah.
I mean, people like Clint Eastwood, and then later on Tom Hanks, and just
Yeah, Eastwood started out, believe it or not, Eastwood started out as a pilot in Tarantula. And he was in one of the Creature from the Black Lagoon movies too, as like a scientist assistant.
Small role,
and then got the part of Rowdy Yates on Rawhide, which led to his spaghetti western movies. And,
I couldn't find work here, and so he went to Italy. Yeah, the rest is history.
Let's go ahead and show some of the other movie pictures while we're waiting for her to come back.
Yeah.
We got through the Piranha.
Okay, yeah, sure. So,
And,
yeah, because the fans, I keep forgetting, we did this actually. We were doing like post production after Two Guys last night, and then we put the studio together. So this will be fun to go back to it. So there you go.
There's the one that she signs for fans. It's got her signature on it. And again, she's underwater with her eyes open, her mouth open. It's pretty impressive.
It's hard to do. Yeah.
There's Gremlins, where she's in the bank scene, bank manager. That is a character actor. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but that is a character actor that's done a zillion, like you said, TV shows and movie bits.
Yes.
He's done a lot.
I remember him. He had a couple of he did a couple of Twilight Zone episodes.
Yes.
Where he gets shots, and then of course probably every TV show.
He does Befuddled very well.
Yeah.
And that's her also in Gremlins.
Yeah.
Excuse me. There's Paul Bartel, who we were talking about in Gremlins 2. They're in the movie theater. And
I'm
she's very upset that her daughter's watching this movie.
Yeah. I'm surprised his wife isn't in the movies. Mary Warnoff.
Yeah, what was the movie that they did together?
Something about where they were eating
Eating Raoul, right?
I'm sorry.
Is it Eating Raoul?
Eating Raoul, yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one they did together. Yeah.
Yeah, dark comedy.
Very. Yeah.
And there she is again in Gremlins 2. I wanted to ask her who was responsible for her hair in that. Because that is not the most flattering hair that she's had. This is her in the Howling.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of the first pictures that she sent me for press.
Yeah.
For our production ads.
Yeah. And she talked about shooting different scenes like 4 months apart, and you're right. You never would have noticed. I mean, if she hadn't said that, it was like, really?
That must have been when her hair was longer.
Yeah.
It's going down out of the picture.
Right, yeah. And then there were two, Manny. It's just me and you. I don't know. The great thing is, I will tell you, the great thing is that even if Belinda is not able to come back or if she's having technical issues, we got so much out of her. It was a full interview. It was a full 50-minute interview. We learned so much. So I do hope she comes back so she can weigh in on her art, but maybe she'll come back if she can't come back today. But we learned it was a full interview. Wow. Just rapid fire. Boom, 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 boom. So I'm really proud of what we were able to do.
She agreed to come back on General Howitzer's Big Monster Briefing Room. Did you guys hear that? Right? Or no, if this was good, if she liked doing this show, she would agree to do it. That's what she said.
Yeah. Well, I hope she does. I mean,
and we'll do Piranha soon because we haven't done Piranha yet. And we'll do that soon because that'll be a fun one. And
I think you should bring her back.
Keenan Wynn in it, Kevin McCarthy, Bradford Dillman.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Belinda
if she's unable to come back on this show, bring her back on another It's Casual. Do a part two
Yeah,
there,
yeah. She's got a lot of stories, I'm sure,
and
still to tell.
then we can talk about her artwork. Uh,
Well, let's continue with the B-roll, and I'm hoping that
yeah.
we'll show the artwork so that people can see it and go to her website. She has a couple. She has the official Belinda Balaski for her acting, and she has a arts website, Belinda Balaski Art.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
she's also there. There it is.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff. Again, she does
Yeah.
pastels and watercolors, and I'm guessing she might do a little bit of both in the same painting, maybe.
Oh, yeah. You can do that. Yeah.
She also does children's theater. She directs children in children's theater, which I think is really great. There's homage to the Howling right there. A wolf looking through a broken fence. But this is a
Yeah.
nice wolf.
Yeah.
This is a nice one.
I like the one blue eye and one kind of golden eye there. It's cool. That's gorgeous.
Golden eye. I'm sorry.
Save it for later.
Had a little Tina Turner moment there. This one I really like. This is a nice one. This has got that Hawaii feel to it. She sometimes lives in Hawaii. I'm not sure if she's in LA now or if she's in Hawaii, but yeah, she's got a few of them that have definitely a Hawaiian feel to them.
That's gorgeous.
In a couple of weeks, we're going to have hopefully another actor from Hawaii. Jason Scott Lee will be on the show to talk about playing Bruce Lee and working in The Soldier with, oh my God. This guy is the guy I looked like when I was younger. Kurt Russell. And other productions that he's done since then. Yeah, look at that. That's really nice use of color.
Yeah.
This is coming from the artist from Painting with Rory. My critique. Great use of space, great use of color.
Mm-hmm.
This one is more pastel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If not all pastel. Nice little waterfall scene. Again,
and
really
water
nice
is
use of
really
color.
hard to do. So that's
she does it well. She does it well.
Yeah.
There we go. And this one's kind of got a Van Gogh kind of feel to it.
Yes,
One of his field art,
right?
Which I really dug about it. Some of it has kind of like Sisley, Alfred Sisley, who used to hang out with the Impressionists, and he did a lot of interesting art. And again, this one has a kind of a Van Gogh feel to it, which I like.
Right, yeah. All I need is some crows in the sky.
and again, this one is very French Impressionistic.
Yeah,
kind of a Monet kind of feel to it. Like
exactly, yeah. Very pastel, very muted. Yeah. The pink clouds and
there's definitely some of that influence there.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
All right. Well, thank you, Renee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, did we lose Renee? Where's Renee?
No, I'm here. I just wanted you guys to keep reflecting on Belinda and because
it's a pity that she didn't get to get back to say goodbye to the audience.
Yeah.
But wonderful interview. Yeah, just all the great stories about the Howling and Joe Dante and the Gremlins and whatnot. We'll have to definitely have her back on Cosmos in the very near future.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is that a good sound?
Yeah. Just some alert sounds. Yeah.
So, and thank you, Manny, for coming and being with us on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're a fan. You know a lot about her movies and her work.
Yeah.
And she asked me how I knew everything about it. Well, IMDb, of course.
IMDb.
And I wasn't able to watch everything, unfortunately. I did get to watch her performance in Matinee last night,
Mhm.
and Piranha. I got to watch Piranha last night,
Yeah.
and again was very impressed. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I watched Gremlins again.
So yeah, I want to find that Civil War TV movie that they did. I want to watch how they beat her up.
No,
That's terrible.
I don't. Yeah, I didn't even
um,
remember that one. Yeah.
um, but again, yeah, Charlton Heston's in it, and Peter Strauss. She's
Yeah.
got pictures with Peter Strauss since that time. They've done some stuff together. So, again, thank you all for watching. It's Casual. Our interview with Belinda Balaski, wonderful actress, artist, very nice person too.
Yeah.
What a nice interview. I mean, we really had a good time, and great stories. Um, I'm so glad I got her. I remembered to get her to tell that Ida Lapina story because that one really cracked me up when she told me that when I first invited her on the show.
Yeah.
So, Renee, thank you for being the glue that holds this whole thing
Thank
together.
you.
Yeah.
And thank you for
you
your
very much.
questions, both of you.
Mhm.
And again, we'll do this again next week.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. It was
have a
fun.
good one, everybody.
All righty.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.